A lot of these you might not enjoy if you're not into, as we said, weird literature. So they're very thoughtful.
They're lit, not popcorn.
They're definitely lit.
Sort of thing that you enjoy because you're wrestling with ideas, interpretation.
If you're looking to just have fun, I don't know if I'd recommend any of the things I just said.
Any of the things on the list? No. Some of these are fun too.
Come and see the violence inherent in the system. Help, help, I'm being repressed, bloody peasant. Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Eh? That's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you?
Welcome back to Help, We're Being Repressed.
Yay.
Today's episode is Ameera Talks.
Which apparently people think I don't do.
She holds that she does talk.
I hold that I talk sufficient amounts.
I think she talks plenty.
Yeah, of course you do. You would have me talk less.
No, I wouldn't. That's not true.
Slander.
Okay, so today we are going to go through Ameera's senior year of lit.
Yes.
Top to bottom. Not chronologically, because she did not write them chronologically because she's a failure.
No, because
how could you write a list that long and not organize it?
Well, because currently, since I just moved back home, all of these books are stacked on my desk.
So
and they are not in order. So I went...
In order of the stack?
No.
No, then what's the order?
I started writing them down by class, and then I couldn't find all of them, and so I went by stack after that.
You're so unorganized.
I'm extremely organized.
This is
a successful
a list of 35-ish.
Some more because there's some books and then short stories and essays kind of sprinkled in.
But 35-ish books.
And then segments, excerpts of books. See, 35-ish. See, you sound so confident for the ish.
Ish. Solid ish. Absolutely no unsurety about this ish. But we're just going to be going through top to bottom this list. And that'll include whether or not you should read it, dear listener. And I will only... This is Ameera Talks because I've read maybe 4 of these.
She's still going to comment
35.
on them because she has confidence.
That's rude.
Okay.
Am I wrong? No, this is an Ameera Talks episode.
Number one,
let's start.
you will be able to comment on.
Oh, really?
Partially. Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment.
We have talked about this before, I believe.
Start strong. Should you not read?
Yes, you should read. Yeah.
Okay.
It does actually, translation is important. I do not remember which translation I read.
Maybe you should throw the comment on the YouTube video or something.
Yeah, it's someone named Richard translated it. I have read Crime and Punishment 3 times because smarter than you. I'm talking to Lucia, not you guys. The first one was a very difficult read, partially because of the translation. Second time, easy translation. Third time was a different translation, but it's also easy. I think the more modern translations are actually better, easier to read. I think there has been improvement in that area. So yes, you should read it, but also take care with the translation. It makes the experience a lot better.
Your biggest takeaways from the book?
I mean, it's kind of I think out of Dostoevsky's book, if you're going to read one of them, read Crime and Punishment. Partially because it's the most structured and organized. It's the one that actually feels like a novel. Mm-hmm. So some of the other ones, Brothers K, The Idiot, like that sort of thing, they definitely were, in some ways, a work in progress. Like jumping around, it wasn't as linear, had parts where it's like, why is this here? Crime and Punishment is just extremely solid, very structured, very clear in the meaning and what's going on. It's complicated in some ways, but it's very simple in others. So even the morality is not complicated. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know, Crime and Punishment obviously is Raskolnikov is the main character. And he is exploring these kind of different philosophical ideals. He believes there is not a God at this moment. At the beginning of the story, he believes there is not a God, and therefore he swings between kind of 2 different ideas, actually, initially. One is very materialistic. It's pure nihilism and the Superman. So it's like, I can do whatever I want. All you need to do to commit any action, sin, murder, anything in that category, basically is just cross over the line. And he's like, mentally, if you truly believe there is not a God, there is not a standard, there's no heaven, no hell, no punishment, you should be able to commit any act without any conscience. And so his goal by committing murder. Spoiler, sorry. I mean, I feel like everyone knows
It happens
that.
immediately, so...
Well, I mean, it's just, I feel like the title summarizes the book best. Crime, punishment. The crime is the murder of
And at
this
the beginning,
pawnbroker.
he thinks he can just do crime.
The beginning, he believes he can just commit crime, and mentally and rationally, he should be able to move past this barrier. But actually, it's funny because people remember that one, I think, and they kind of forget the other philosophy that he's also exploring, which is entirely inconsistent with the first one.
Humanity.
Yes. So that is like the Superman. It's like, I can do
Nietzsche.
whatever I want. Nietzsche. The other is the idea that you can commit anything for a greater good. So it's like, take this action. It's actually kind of similar to the Superman in some ways. However, it's contrary because it believes in a good, which is entirely different. So it's, you can take any action if it's for the greater good. The pawnbroker, it's one of the reasons he chooses the pawnbroker. She's an evil woman. She, rips people off. She's terrible. It would be better for society if she was gone. It's like she's this worm. So those are his two rationales, which kind of contradict one another. Is you can do something. Yes. You can do something for the greater good, or you can have no greater good and you can do whatever you want because there is no good and there is no evil. And he does not actually decide between these two. He's kind of bouncing between. So you even have him at the very beginning of the story have inner turmoil and contradiction.
Well, you even see him breaking to his conscience before he commits the crime.
Yes.
So, yes,
So
he's a pile of contradiction.
Initially, you have him being split in three, actually, because he has the conscience, which is like his moral compass, I guess. Then there's this idea of taking steps for the greater good. Then there's the idea of there is no greater good. I can do whatever I want.
His two fake rationales.
So you have him split in three. He murders the woman. The rest of the book, that happens early on. The rest of the book is the punishment. It's his spiral. Everything's falls apart, mostly mentally, but also physically as he, ends the book. Captured.
Yep, busted.
Busted indeed. And he meets Sonia, and she's a prostitute Christ figure, is how my teacher described her, which is actually pretty accurate. Self-sacrifice. She's a great character. She kind of redeems him in some ways.
Very convicting for him.
Highly convicting. But yeah, it's a great read. He is one of, I think, the most likable main characters of Dostoevsky. If you've read the book, you might be confused by that statement. He is actually, because he genuinely has a good nature. This is one of the things that's interesting in the book, is he is a good man in some ways. He is in intellectual turmoil, and he put that intellectual turmoil into action.
Which, I mean, in some ways makes him better than some other losers.
Yeah, I can kind of
lots of
respect
people,
the movement.
like when you have someone who's fundamentally, like, they're not good-natured and they're partial to intellectual evil, but they're just too much of a wuss to apply it.
However, he did not, it's not to the very end of the book that he kind of has some actual change. Initially, he just believes himself to be the Superman, or wants to be, but then he realizes he's not, and he doesn't dismiss his theory, he dismisses himself. Because he's like, okay, so I guess I wasn't capable of stepping over that line.
Yeah.
He didn't have the self-control to like fully break away from these social norms and these moral ideas. But he doesn't think that actually proves the moral ideas true. He thinks that he's just weak.
Yeah. So it takes to the end to actually.
But he's actually like, he's described as a handsome guy. He's like saved people from burning buildings. Like he's actually a good person.
His instincts.
His instincts are good, which is kind of why he wanted to push against them to test his theory. It turns out his theory failed. But out of all of Dostoevsky's books, this is the one I'd recommend first because of how clean it is, easily structured. I don't find it difficult to read, but then again,
Yeah.
I think my perspective on that is skewed at this point.
Probably.
My favorite character, which people will be concerned about, is Svidrigailov.
No, see, that's so valid though.
I find him the most interesting because I think he's the more complicated than Raskolnikov. I like Raskolnikov. I also like Razumikin. This has some of the best characters out of Dostoevsky's work that are just not terrible to read about. But Svidrigailov is 100% evil, but is more complex.
He's the Superman.
He is.
So
Yeah.
that's one of the fun aspects of this book because there's a couple that I definitely find really appealing about Crime and Punishment. But one is the fact that he's not just attacking this theory of nihilism through Raskolnikov.
Yes.
Because you could tell a story, you have your main character, and you have this horrible failure, and that would get the point across, right?
Right.
But he also has Svidrigailov. I'm so bad at these Russian names. I'm sorry.
Just say it with confidence. I'm probably pronouncing them all wrong.
Svidrigailov. That was not
Svidrigailov.
Okay, that. He has him in there, and he is the ideal of this theory.
He does whatever he wants, and he disgusts Raskolnikov.
He's a psychopath.
Yes.
He genuinely can step over these conventional moralities by just not being bothered by it. And he can do whatever. And so you have that figure, and you do not want to be him.
Yes, and one of my favorite portions about him is when he's talking about the idea of heaven and hell.
Oh, I love that part.
And he talks about how he questions whether heaven, like what it is, what the afterlife is. And he's like, what if it was just like a box? Like, what if it was this small room filled with spiders? Mm-hmm. And Raskolnikov is extremely disturbed.
Yeah, creeped out, horrified.
So Svidrigailov is like, but why not?
Yeah.
Like, it could be. Like, why not? And he is one of the greatest challenges to Raskolnikov's ideas, actually, because of the way that he demonstrates the actuality of it.
Mm-hmm. What it would actually
and how
look like.
terrible it is. Because it's like, I don't undermine only my actions on this world. I undermine everything till the very end. It's like the afterlife might be a box of spiders that you're trapped in. Like, and
that's heaven, not
what
hell.
I do. Yes, and what I do also like about that is his image of heaven is actually where Raskolnikov currently is, because he lives in this tiny upstairs room. It's described as like a home of spiders. Like, he is in this place that Svidrigailov has described, and he's trying to live there. He's trying to be where Svidrigailov wants to be. Mm-hmm. And you're like, it's just a very interesting contrast.
But then, of course, he also ultimately fails at being Superman. But he gives you a very accurate
He's the closest
look.
picture.
He gives you a very accurate look of what that would actually be, and it's horrifying.
Yeah, he is the closest picture of what Raskolnikov is aiming for in his nihilist ideal. I also do like his quote about ghosts, where he's like, the fact that only sick men see ghosts does not mean that ghosts do not exist, only that sick men can see them. Mm-hmm. That's not an accurate quote, but it's close.
I think it's that they only appear to sick men or something like. You're close enough.
But Crime and Punishment, I fully recommend. It's a good book. It's excellent.
The two tack-ons I would give, just for this one, is one, I'm sorry, is that I think you will have a hard time finding such an accurate depiction of humanity in its self-contradiction.
Yes.
So when you talk about these two rationales that don't work together, you do see them together a lot. Mm-hmm. Like in The Atheist.
Well, often when we've talked about this in the Avatar one, is that it? Or in the Interstellar?
I think we might have mentioned in both. I think it was probably Interstellar.
Why do we feel any conviction to save the human race?
Yeah.
And for the greater good? Why are we working towards a greater good at all?
Mm-hmm. This is a really common contradiction that you rarely see commented on. Is you don't just go, ha ha, Raskolnikov, he's so dumb that he thinks both of these things. I'm like, you see it in so many atheists. They go like, just materialism, just nihilism, every man for himself, survival of the fittest, and also you owe this fundamental loyalty to the ultimate betterment of the world. And I'm like, why?
I'm like, why? You cannot explain to me why that could be the case.
And this is a really good illustration of the contradictory nature of man. It's something that I whip out every once in a while. It's just a comment like, who said people had to be consistent?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're expecting consistency from people, you're going to be wrong most of the time. Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing that I would throw out for this. And the other is just a slightly external admiration of how this interacts with the life of Nietzsche. Mm-hmm. So if you're too into Nietzsche, reevaluate yourself. You suck.
Okay.
He's a good writer, though. I like some of his quotes. His Abyss quote is just
he's not
baller.
Stupid.
No, he's not stupid. But what I find funny is the fact that Nietzsche likes Crime and Punishment. When it's so anti-Nietzsche.
Right.
But then the funniest aspect is the moment I read this scene, I ran to Google. because at the beginning of Crime and Punishment, Raskolnikov, after his murder, has the dream about the horse.
Yes.
So
It's a dream in which someone beats a horse to death.
and it tears him to pieces. And I think this is the first time that he truly buckles under his conscience.
Yeah.
Because he's fretting immediately. Like, from page 1, he's fretting.
Because all it is cruelty towards the innocent.
Yep. But this is the moment that he just falls to pieces, is this dream where he watches a horse get beaten to death and it just tears him up. 20 years later, I think it's 20 years later, about, this happens to Nietzsche. So Nietzsche is someone who believes in the Superman. He argues for this ridiculous worldview, which as we mentioned, goes horrible places. And he's also a fan of this book. 20 years later, God gives him the same scene. That Nietzsche is walking on the street and he watches a horse be beat to death and it tears him to pieces. He loses his mind and he spends the rest of his life as an invalid. And I'm just like, that is some crazy irony right there.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
So just an extra thing I like about the book.
The
downfall of Nietzsche.
Well, it also emphasizes how actually apt the scene is. The dream about beating a horse to death. There's something about that type of cruelty that's really convicting towards people who don't believe in any good or evil. Because it's very simple. It's very...
Because you should be unbothered by that, right?
Hypothetically. But you can't be. Not really, unless you're actually a psychopath like Svidrigailov. The final thing I'll say about this book, because I feel like we spent too long on it.
We did, but it's
move
a good one.
Is one thing that I like, and it comes out in other ones of Dostoevsky's works, is his exploration of insanity. So for Raskolnikov, and even for Svidrigailov, which you find out later, where he goes insane is the contrast between his like rational beliefs and his heart. So there's this entire contradiction where you see that he is built one way, where he goes is save the children burning building, give money to Sonia, give money to the prostitute who's like on the street dying, help her have a funeral for her father. That sort of thing where it's like, I instinctively help. I instinctively reach out to people. He protects a girl on the street who's been like raped and he like finds a cop, brings him over, and then he laughs at himself because he's like, why did I even do that?
Yeah.
So his, like the tension in the book is his rational so his mind versus heart. The insanity comes when you try to put the mind over the heart. So we talk a lot about like, don't, follow your feelings. That's not what I'm talking about, obviously. It's the conscience. So it's the moral beliefs that you're not necessarily able to actually rationalize without a divine being.
The law of God written on your heart is different than just your feels.
Yeah, so when I say heart, that's what I mean. Throughout Dostoevsky's works, that's where insanity comes from. It's like a reordering. Where instead of heart over mind, you try to flip it. You try to, Augustine talks about like ordering the loves, right? In some ways, this is similar, where it's like an order of priorities and what leads you and what pulls you.
Who is it that says, I can't remember the quote exactly, but it's the poet reaches their mind into the heavens and the philosopher tries to fit the heavens into his head.
I don't know.
And his head is the one that splits.
I like that because that's exactly what Dostoevsky does.
Yeah.
This is Raskolnikov. He tries to put mind over heart. He breaks. Svidrigailov, actually, throughout the entirety of the book. I'm just going to like spoil everything. But that's okay. I forgive myself. Because we work on self-love. Throughout the entirety of the book, he is the psychopath. He is the Superman, the greater man. But he falls in love with Raskolnikov's sister. And he is truly in love with her. He gets her in a position where she's trapped. He is in a spot where he would rape her. She basically begs him not to. And he asks her, like, do you love me? And she says, no, never. He, like, freezes and he lets her go. So in this moment, he actually, for the first time, has a conscience in some ways. And he's led by love rather than just...
Yeah, it was this emotion finally broke through his...
Yeah, he was entirely led by his desires and just moving through life based on this nihilistic philosophy. But in this moment, he violated his rational philosophy because he was moved by his heart. Mm-hmm. That's where he breaks. Because now he actually has these two worldviews. And he goes insane. Mm-hmm. So he goes through this like night of hallucinations where he's thinking through all the crimes that he's committed. And he breaks down. Mm-hmm. So for the first time, he has these two worldviews like that meet each other.
Yeah.
And my teacher talked about this when he was teaching us through it. I really like the theme because the insanity, often what happens is a person goes insane because they have these two contradicting philosophies in there or ideas. Mm-hmm. And they try to put the wrong one ahead. This is the moment where you either commit suicide or you're redeemed.
Yep.
Those are your only two paths. Like you cannot actually live with the rational over the spiritual. Mm-hmm. Svidrigailov, he commits suicide. That's his end. That's where it leads him because he cannot live with these two ideas because he finally has those two.
And he's not willing to go the redemption.
And he cannot choose the redeemed route because he does not want to live like that. Raskolnikov eventually is redeemed and aligns those ideas. This is what will come out in Brothers Karamazov as well with like Ivan, I believe. There was actually supposed to be a second book. This is another one I've read. So we can move past Crime and Punishment. A+. You should all read it. Do it.
Let's see if we can go faster through some of these books.
Yeah, I'll zoom.
It might go faster when we hit the ones
most
that
distracted
I haven't
by
read.
Dostoevsky.
So,
but Brothers K, Ivan is one of the most interesting characters in my opinion. He is that conflicted intellectual. He definitely is going insane with these conflicting ideas. Mm-hmm. He does not commit suicide. He is not like fully redeemed. However, he does act according to his conscience in the end of the book. There was supposed to be a second book, interestingly enough. It was never released. So it was never, I think, written. But
so
I think he's another character who demonstrates those like splitting ideas.
Mm-hmm. Brothers K, read insanity. Or don't read?
Brothers K, you should read it. It's
but lower priority than Crime and Punishment?
I think lower priority mostly because of the difficulty level. Uh-huh. Partially because there's so much going on. It's really thick. There's different ideas working through. It's just more of a handful than Crime and Punishment. It's not as succinct and nice and tidy. But it's really good. I do think there are some parts that could have just been removed, mostly like the trial scene, stuff like that. It's not as linear it is technically linear, but it's bouncing between a lot of characters. Mm-hmm. It's not as clear where it's going and what's happening. However, a lot of the ideas in the text are really good. Even if you don't read the Brothers Karamazov, the whole book, you should read The Grand Inquisitor, which is a chapter in a segment. It is Ivan's philosophy, his question to God. And it's a very interesting read, and it's important, especially if you're trying to work through philosophical ideas. It's actually good to have a contrasting opinion to look at, because you need to know how to answer these things, especially through an intelligent perspective versus just people in the street. Which, obviously people in the streets may be more relevant for your life. But if you're trying to think through things, read The Grand Inquisitor.
You want to argue against the strongest of your opponents.
Right.
This is why you hate like those Chad podcasts where they bring on hookers and diss them.
Bring on OnlyFans models and are like, yeah, you're like, a terrible person.
Women suck.
And you're like,
they suck. You're attacking feminism at its actual lowest form. So obviously you're winning. But yes, it's like it's good if you're wrestling through things to look at actually powerful arguments from the other side.
Yeah, and it's a very evocative argument. And it's a very emotional in some ways. Mm-hmm. So it has rationale behind it. It is very emotional. And a lot of people are emotionally anti-Christianity. Mm-hmm. Partially because of the problem of evil. That is the big problem Ivan explores. And he rejects a God who lets a child suffer. That is what encapsulates it. There you go.
Okay.
And it's great because in the other parts of the book, you do have children suffering and children dying. So it has a nice contrast. I recommend the book. It's not, I would say, only if you really want to go in deep. Otherwise, read the chapter, Grand Inquisitor. It's a good read.
Is your next one also Dostoevsky?
I'm just going to list the Dostoevskys and say yay or nay. I feel like we should move on.
Yeah, to a different category.
The Gambler, I quite enjoyed. I don't think it's a priority of Dostoevsky's works. However, it's a good one, and it was written in a time when he lost all of his money gambling and was addicted to gambling. So it's very personal in some ways. I think a decent amount of Dostoevsky's work is just personal because he was a very spiteful man and he wrote spiteful men. people who are
Yeah.
bitter and envious. And he wrote kind of the worst parts of himself, I think, into some of his characters.
Seen people joke about Jane Austen naming her like prettiest, nicest, most perfect character Jane, and Dostoevsky naming his like worst, most awful character Fyodor.
Yes. Yeah, he did do that. He does not seem very pleased with himself. I think that's in some ways how it can be so good at human nature. It is exaggerated. So there's a lot of his characters which are just turned up.
Yeah.
But sometimes that is the way you get to understand people. Is just the extreme. Turn them up to 11 and then you can see this picture and actually get it, and then you can recognize it in characters in real life. But Gambler, it was just fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. The Double, less fun to read. That was probably my least favorite main character. I hated him. He was terrible. It was interesting. The concept of the book is interesting. What it's discussing is also interesting. So some of these, I would just say read if you're into, intense lit.
Into the Russians.
If you're into the Russians,
Go for it.
Dostoevsky is a good place to start to, dip your toes in the water.
Very hot take.
I know. Real spicy. The Double is just funny because it's this guy who's terrible at everything and his life sucks. And the Double shows up. This guy who looks exactly like him, has the same name, shows up in his workplace. And no one acknowledges that they look exactly the same and have the same name. So he's kind of confused and concerned. He slowly starts taking over his life. And he is better than him at everything. So it's just this absolute crumbling of a person as he freaks out and goes insane because no one's acknowledging that this guy is taking over
I like
his
that
life.
premise, though. That's funny.
So it's like this weird horror story.
That does sound like a horror story.
It is 100% horror. It's interesting. However, he's terrible, and I kind of support the guy taking over his life. So maybe I'm a problem.
You're so sympathetic.
But he's terrible. Notes from Underground. I feel like you read part of this.
I'll finish it eventually.
There's-
That is an unbearable narrator.
Oh, you would hate the Double then.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just like trying to swim through this, and I'm like, man, you suck.
Well, yeah, he's the underground man. He's supposed to suck.
Yeah, I know. I know it's on purpose. I'm just saying it's working.
I like Notes from Underground.
Well, I'll finish it. I plan to finish it.
Honestly, prefer the first part.
It's just so much harder to read than Crime and Punishment.
Yes. The second part is his, it's a story of his life.
Uh-huh.
Like a little segment of something that happened in his life. The first part is very much his philosophy and ideas. Very rambling.
It's just him talking about himself.
It's him talking about himself, but it's also him talking about,
The thing about me.
the thing about him, but also about the world.
Uh-huh.
And it's interesting. It's a good read.
Yay, nay.
I would say read it. I would say read all of Dostoevsky. So
But we're prioritizing Crime and
we are
Punishment.
prioritizing.
What's second
Crime
place?
and Punishment is number 1. Brothers K is number 2.
What's number 3? And then we'll stop.
Well, I haven't said The Idiot yet, but The Idiot is also one I read. I wrote my paper about The Idiot.
Good job.
The Idiot is interesting and strange and feels contrary to some of his other works. But I feel like we don't have time to talk about that.
But you liked it.
But I liked it.
Because it's the one about a good man, right?
It's the one about the perfect man.
And it doesn't go great.
It's more of a conceptual perfect. Like in reality, this man would not, be ideal. However, it's he.
Imagine the nicest dude.
Yeah, strangely enough, the character initially was supposed to be like a serial killer, but Dostoevsky switched it
Whoa.
to the perfect man. And I was like, how do you start?
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm
that's
gonna
kind
write
of
a serial
major
killer.
edit.
And at some point, I don't know where in the editing process this was. It's like, why did you start
I
serial
couldn't
killer? You
imagine
were writing,
doing
and
that.
you're like, no, I actually wrote the perfect man. Don't know
It's not like he's just so nice.
The Idiot is one of the least, I think, edited.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a mess in some ways. It bounces around timeline. It has some great characters. Specifically women. It has some crazy women. Some women I do not understand. Aglaia confuses me wildly. See, I was just as confused as the main character. Prince Mishkin is the main character. Whether she liked him or not. He was confused. I was confused. Aglaia clearly...
What if it was just yes and no?
She apparently was very into him and was in love with him. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, you're smart like that.
Well, because she was rude to him all the time.
you don't understand women.
At some point, she started liking him. I don't know where the transition was. I couldn't tell. And then at some point she was like going to marry him. So I got it at that point. But
There's some ways I feel like you don't speak girl.
no, I read Dostoevsky, where his women are either insane or prostitutes.
Nice
So-
prostitutes, some of
Yeah,
them.
Christ figure prostitutes. Most of the prostitutes are good people, actually.
Anywho, are we done with
The
Dostoevsky?
idiot. No. See, the problem is
We have to get to the rest of your list. We have to get away
we've
from
made
just
it
one
through
author.
very, very few books.
No, that's why we have to like.
But the idiot's
make
really
a little
good.
clippier.
It's very different. So I found it quite interesting. It's depressing.
Okay.
I think it's probably the most depressing out of all of his books that I've read.
Yeah,
White
well-
Knights, which I did not read this year, but I have read, also depressing. It's about unrequited love. The Idiot is more depressing because it's longer
Yeah.
and you spent more time with the character, and the crash and burn at the end is legit.
Well, yeah, it's the one about a
I
good
actually
person
think-
versus
yeah.
bad people.
I think it's put in contrast, so it's to the theme of madness in some of his other books. The Idiot, Prince Mishkin, called the Idiot because he has epilepsy. And also because he's an idiot. But
We punning or something?
yeah, I think so. He lives his life very much based on the spiritual and on his heart. And he tries to enforce that on the world rather than like Raskolnikov and Ivan and Svidrigailov, who try to do the rational above. And he also goes insane. So I think it's an interesting contrast to some of the other works.
Well, maybe it's that you can't wholly do one.
Yes, I think that's possible. I also think it's possible that it's a despair about the actual state of the world in reality. Where it's like, this world will destroy you if you are the perfect man. Which, I mean, is what Christ was. So there is a way in which it just fully echoes the Christian story. But he's not a perfect man, and he does some stupid things through the book. He's just supposed to be the
He's a
perfect man.
theoretical perfect guy.
Theoretical. Yeah, okay, moving on.
New author?
1984, we already talked about that one.
Well, then we can just give it 2 big thumbs up.
1984, read it, not for children.
Nope.
However, it's very interesting. It's very good to read. Read the appendix.
Good to think about.
Do not forget the appendix.
I
'cause
did.
So did I. And then I was like, wait,
Wait a second.
it's important. Animal Farm. So we're in Orwell. Animal Farm
Yeah.
we also talked about already.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Also thumbs
Read
up.
it.
You should read it if you did not follow our book club
How dare
suggestions.
you.
You should redeem yourself and move forward a better man by reading it. Brave New World we also talked about. Look at us. We did talk about that, right? We're not making that
Yeah,
up.
no, we did. We did a whole dystopia episode. So Brave New World is also read. And just remember our commentary that this is more our world than 1984 is in America. So it's like when you're reading the dystopians, it's like it's great to work through this, but don't just get caught up in the metaphors in the interpretations everyone else
Don't
falls back
assume
on.
things are one-to-one.
Yeah, don't project. Don't be like, wow, this is how everything is. This is how people are evil. Like, actually
No.
draw your own connections with your own experience.
Look at our world and compare it to the book instead of just like saying the
Instead
book
of just being like,
is
wow.
our world.
Yes, a lot of people do that, where they just go, it's literally this.
I think what 1984
Sit back, make your own
has
interpretations.
over Brave New World for the current climate is language.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's different for sure, because we don't have a government that has the ability to fully enforce
However,
language.
part of
But yes, the language wars are very, very real.
and it's a
in this
very
day and
real
age.
war, which is moving on to something else you should read, which I have mentioned before, which is Politics of the English Language. And that's one of Orwell's most famous essays, I think. A lot of people probably had to read this at some point in their school life. I think a lot of people were forced to.
I think a lot of people
But
haven't, though, so.
I think you should read it now because
Yes.
it's important.
It is super relevant because luckily America hasn't lost this war
Yeah.
with language, because this is one thing you can appreciate about America and all its
Yay.
imperfections is that we've always had a culture of fighting. So we've had a lot of turmoil as a country at different points, but it's because we don't have a culture of just accepting whatever's currently in charge.
We don't naturally just roll over, which
Yeah.
I think is healthy.
Yeah, so you can sometimes get a little distressed by the amount of conflict through our history, but you have to know that sometimes it's a good sign because it means that we're not just accepting things. We're not rolling over. And language is a big one for that. So we haven't lost, but there are a lot of attempts, and some have been more successful than others with
Yeah.
redefining language.
I think Politics of the English Language is really important to read because it reminds you of the stakes. And And some of it is just, do you want to be an idiot? No, genuinely. It's like,
that
okay,
is a stake sometimes.
because not only does language shape your speech, which is just clear, and your writing and the quality of it, because sometimes if you ramble, I mean, this is me, we ramble, but we ramble succinctly. That's probably not true. However,
I don't think that can be true.
Shut up. Let me say things that mean nothing. Yeah, that's exactly what politics of the English language says not to do. Falling back on cliches, on the ideas that don't really mean anything, and you don't know what they mean.
Well, that's a similar thing with the interpret metaphors for yourself and don't just accept them. Is the same thing with cliches.
Yeah, it's like, okay,
where people just say, here's statement. We have vague associations with that makes you feel one way or the other. You have to be like, but what does it mean?
See, obviously politicians do this when they're trying to just move people by emotion without using
we're here to
any
help.
fact. Yeah, we're here to help. Stuff like that. Or like, we are moving forward. We have like stuff like that, which
They just
does
be
not
saying things.
include actual plans or concrete goals. Everything's vague, everything's abstract, and they don't mean things. So there's
Royal attempts of associating themselves with you.
Exactly.
How
so
people
just
drive
being
your
aware
loyalties.
of what it does, and also being aware and just challenging things that mean nothing. Concepts and ideas. A lot of like, I think the left-leaning LGBT, like inclusive language.
Oh yeah.
Even saying things like
even just like the
inclusive
word
or diversity.
Yes.
Like, what do you
inclusive,
mean by
diverse, tolerance. All of those are words that people have redefined.
They're just yay
and
words.
they frequently mean the opposite of how we're using them.
Well, I had
like
to write,
especially, I mean, tolerance is a huge one that people have made memes about. Like, because we've spotted this. I mean, some people haven't, but a lot of people have. Where you're like, we say tolerance, but it's tolerance only for the select few that we have decided deserve tolerance, and utter and complete condemnation of people who do not accept that definition of tolerance.
So one of the things you need to do is listen for words and understand what they mean. And
More
I think
hot takes.
I know, I'm so good at these. One of my assignments actually was talking about like find a word that has been, or I guess a euphemism that is commonly used. My teacher, Mr. Miller, John Miller, he wrote an essay about porn and the way the word porn is used now to talk about like food porn and that sort of thing. And he argued against it, saying it's diminishing what porn actually is and the toxic nature of it. I wrote my piece on body positivity and the way people are not admitting that they're actually just fat. And in some ways, people now try to like claim the word fat, but I meant obese is now seen as like a
curse word?
Yeah, it's actually like they use little asterisks when they write it. And I'm like, okay, so obese, part of the excellence of that word is it includes health connotations, which people are trying to get away from. Like when you look at actual statistics, obesity is a massive problem when it comes to health.
Yeah.
And people are trying to move away from that by using euphemism, even fat sometimes now. But, you know, body positive or
yeah, well,
big body.
People are constantly trying to create or erase associations with words.
Yes. So it's like run from euphemisms.
And this is relevant to our recent podcast, though I guess by the time this comes out, it won't be so recent. Our smut talk is, you made me think of it with the redefining of porn, which I agree with. But smut or spicy are different words that we've adopted.
Spicy. I hate that.
Oh, just different words that we've adopted to decrease the shame
Right.
of a porn addiction.
Or
See, it's like all these 30-year-old women with porn addictions. That is what you have. And this falls back on a tenet of Christianity is confession. And confession is calling something by the name that God calls it.
this is making me think of, so we have like OnlyFans models. Or
and like we also call you
content,
really cheap hookers.
or content creators. And you're like, no, you're a prostitute. You are selling sexual favors for money. That is what it is.
Yeah.
And we're moving away from that, which is allowing girls and people to feel like it's more acceptable because we've defined it by something which is not bad. We're like content creator. I'm like, we're content creating. Like we're podcasting. That's what this is.
What you're doing is prostitution.
Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah. So this is a really coming back full circle. so we don't get over distracted because this is a huge topic.
I'm easily distracted.
Well, it's a very, very relevant topic.
I have been asked if I'm ADHD. I am not.
No. Well, we haven't checked.
Well, we're not checking.
We're not checking.
Because we're not children.
It's personality.
Right? I just have energy.
It's the spice of life.
Okay, you were
Anywho,
rounding
I'm
back.
just saying, rounding back, this is obviously a huge topic. We could just sit here and list all of the things that have been redefined in our common moment, but
It would take too long.
it would take too long, and we've got other books to get to. So this essay is just highly relevant. When was it written? Do you know?
I do not know. I mean, he wrote 1984 and like 1948. So I assume it was a bit before that.
Okay, so
Probably 1940s.
80 years ago.
That's my guess.
80,
Yeah.
80 some years ago. And it is so incredibly relevant right now. So
I would say finally, so not only should it, like, you watch out for things. One of the things it does, it makes it impossible to think if you don't have terms to think in. This is something 1984 talks about when they talk about newspeak. I think that's what it is. And it's just limiting vocabulary. So you do not even have the possibility to think things that are incorrect.
yeah, because
You
we've
do not have
eliminated
the
those
words to think about it. And this
have
is
no word
what
for
limiting.
revolution.
Yeah, this is what limiting language does in some ways. Is you're incapable of forming complete thoughts or actually having substance in your thoughts if all you think in is metaphors or like cliches.
Well, it's like if we eliminated all terms for gender.
Right.
How are you going to talk about these clear differences between a holy and blessed union and a perversion
Exactly.
when we've destroyed language?
So it's a really good essay. Highly recommend. I mean, I would say 1984, Animal Farm, and Politics of the English Language are the most necessary to read Orwell.
Naturally.
He has
Okay.
other good things that I did read some of. I read like part of Homage to Catalonia, which is also really good. I did not read the full book. We only read a selection. It's kind of about Orwell's experience in the Spanish Civil War. He was fighting for the communists. Because, I mean, a lot of Americans were actually. Because it was anti-fascist. So,
Yeah.
you know, when your sides are
The lesser
communist
of
and
two
fascist,
evils, question
here's the thing,
mark?
no, he was. He definitely leaned communist. He is a socialist. Was a socialist.
Well, we talked about that with Animal Farm with like,
But Homage to Catalonia, part of it that is included is it is his realization that there are enemies on the left as well as the right. It is
news.
where he became anti-communist. So it's also a good read. It is really not up there. I think out of other short stories, I think Shooting of an Elephant is really good. If I was going to recommend one of the short stories, that would be the one I recommend. It's very interesting. It's about, well, obviously him shooting an elephant,
no way.
but it's about human nature. It's about his own, I guess, temptations and sins. It's very personal. It's very interesting. There's another one I'm trying to remember. It's about, I do not remember the name of the other one. Hanging, maybe? It's about the hanging of a man. And it's watching it. And one of my favorite parts of that is as he's watching this man go to die, he watches him step over a puddle.
That's a great moment to highlight.
Right? Where you just like, you have this little human thing where this man is about to go be hanged.
Doesn't want his feet wet when he dies.
And he stepped over a puddle to keep his shoes from getting wet. And it's just very interesting. It's very human. And I quite liked it. And Orwell is really good at attention to those like little details that bring humanity into like both big things and very little things. So read that. Down and Out in Paris and London. Read part of that. Road to Wigan Pier. Read some of that. Most of Orwell is worth reading. That is what I
He's
would
a really good writer.
He's a really good writer, and he's really good when he's talking about writing.
Is he the window pane guy? Is that somebody else?
He is the window pane guy. He also talks, I don't remember which essay this was in. Yeah, no idea which essay this is. He talks about writing as a window. It should not be distracting. It should be getting towards something. So that was my Orwell. I don't think I read any other Orwell. I might have, but I can't find it on my list because my list is confusing.
What's next?
Next, Edgar Allan Poe short stories. Ligeia and Fall of House of the Usher, not the Usher, are the ones I read for class. Also read Telltale Heart.
Naturally.
To write a paper on because you have to read Telltale Heart.
Poe
It's excellent. Have you
is
read
so
any
dramatic.
Poe?
Yeah, I've read all of those.
Okay, so you can talk about them. Go.
I haven't read them for a while. And I've been talking plenty. I've actually read parts of a good chunk of these so far. But Poe is interesting. I mean,
Telltale
his
Heart was my
poetry.
favorite out of those three, to be honest. But that was just enjoyment-wise. It wasn't actually quality-wise.
well, Telltale Heart,
It's the one everyone reads.
it's the one everyone reads, and it is really good. And, I mean, it actually has some similar vibes to Crime and Punishment in the idea of conscience.
What I love about it is kind of a question of what's actually happening. Because you have the unreliable narrator, which is such a trendy thing now.
But it used to be cool.
But it used to be
See, this
not
is
done.
something we've definitely talked about before, probably briefly, but it's funny when things trend and people don't know what was good about it.
Yeah.
You get a similar thing with sequels when a movie's really good and people are like, let's make a second one because money. And then they have no idea what made the first one good.
Gladiator 2.
So they just light it on fire.
Also,
because they
side
don't know,
note,
but
I hate Gladiator 2.
we know that.
I just felt like rehashing that.
In order to really express my feelings on it, I would have to vomit on the table.
Let's not do that. Move
So
on.
we're gonna
I don't
move
want to sell that.
Anywho, this is also something you get in Hollywood all the time is a movie makes it really big and everybody's like, wow, let's do it too. And they copy the most superficial and random things about it.
Like the style.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we'd put her also in
Well,
a
it's actually, you
leather
see it
jacket.
with anime right now is you got some animes got really popular in America and Netflix, Paramount, Amazon, everyone is like, oh, apparently what people really love is anime style 2D animation and big googly eyes and sparkles.
No.
And it's like wrong.
That's not what
They're
we
like
about
people
it.
like Asian like trappings, don't they? I'm like wrong. You've got this refreshing good versus evil and classic heroic storytelling that we haven't gotten
They're like, let's copy
in like
the
a
bad
decade
parts
plus.
of it.
And then suddenly everybody's copying the aesthetic.
The aesthetic is probably my least favorite thing.
It's like, no, there are some that have really
It
good
depends-
art.
it depends
yeah,
on the
you're
show.
like, you
It
have
depends
some
on the
that
show.
have
I take that
amazing
back.
art, but just copying the aesthetic or the function is like, that's not the freaking point. That's not what we liked about it. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, unreliable narrator. I'm just saying things like that, tropes like that, they're only good when they're well done.
Yeah, it
It's
doesn't
not- it's
make
not
it
the
cool
thing-
just to have it.
Yes, it's not the thing in and of itself that made Poe compelling. So when people are like, ooh, unreliable narrator, it's so meta. And I'm like, not when you do it, it's not.
When you do it, it's
When you do
stupid.
it, that was awful.
So,
But
Telltale
Telltale
Heart-
Heart, you do have the unreliable narrator. You don't really know what's going on. And you've got this idea of just a convicting, but like viscerally convicting conscience,
Yes.
which is really interesting and fun. And it gives so much weight to conscience. Like it's more than just a feeling. What we're talking about, feelings being different than your heart and the law of God written on your heart. This is something that gives substance to that.
Okay, I think we should move. Lygia, Fall of House.
So
Usher
obviously his poetry is
also
amazing.
are interesting and good. I feel they might not be necessarily worth reading if you don't have good context for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to understand a little more about what was going on in that time.
Yeah.
Like the ideas that were being pushed about. I think I really liked reading it, partially because I was also reading like Thoreau and Emerson and had all these like
Context.
concepts in my head that were aligned with them because they were comparing different ideas like transcendentalism, some type of materialism. Like it was this contrast that was very interesting. I think they're good. They're interesting reads. Not sure if you'd enjoy them as much out of context. Blythedale Romance. Surprisingly funny. That's, I think, by Hawthorne. Am I making
Oh
this
yeah,
up?
it totally is Hawthorne.
Yeah,
I think.
like I should remember this.
I haven't read that one though.
Surprisingly funny. The main character is sarcastic. And
Read or don't
amusing.
read?
I would read it. I mean, I did read it.
Yeah, but you were in
I
a
was
class.
required to read it, so there's a bit of a difference there. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think it's funny because Hawthorne had lived on one of these like communes that was happening at the time. This is set in one of those situations.
Mm-hmm.
His fell apart. The one in the book also will fall apart. It's just interesting. It's
feel like
rather
I'm-
strange. It's about what I do like about it, and this is something that Hawthorne explores in some of his short stories as well, like Rappaccini's Daughter, which I also had to read, and Minister's Black Veil, Maple of Merrymount, are all Hawthorne stories that I was forced to read, but enjoyed. I liked Hawthorne a surprising amount.
Yeah,
I need
see,
to
I
reread
feel like
The
I
Scarlet
remember
Letter.
you saying that this kind of convinced you. It's like, wait, he's a good writer. Because
Yes.
you just read Scarlet Letter before.
I'd only read
Which
The
is kind
Scarlet
of a
Letter,
trip.
and I had read that in sophomore year of high school.
When we had great taste.
So my memories of the book is there was an A, and there were weird people.
Really creepy kid.
Creepy. Oh my gosh.
Creep-tastic kid.
Creepy kid. I remember the creepy guy too.
Oh, yeah. The
I need
which
to reread
creepy
that.
guy? There's two.
Both, vaguely. Actually, apparently I don't remember them very well because they might have
Well,
melded
did
together
you
in my
mean
mind.
the adulterer or the other guy?
I think the other one.
Okay, because the other guy's creepy. The adulterer's just like...
Meh. He was just like,
No, he's like a fall apart wuss.
yeah, that was. But Bithedale Romance is interesting. I think one of the things that Hawthorne likes exploring in his stories is man trying to like enforce himself over nature. Mm-hmm. So he definitely had like naturalist ideas in there. If I remember correctly, Scarlet Letter also had very noble savage, these concepts in there.
Yeah.
Bithedale Romance is more about human nature, which makes it more interesting. And it's humans trying to enforce authority where they do not have any or where they cannot. One of the characters is trying to fix people, basically, where he's working towards just a corrective facility of fixing criminals. He's trying to enforce his own authority over human nature and redefine it. So,
Which always works, by the way.
yes, this is very much a story of failure.
Love it.
I enjoyed it. I also find the main guy kind of funny. Like, he's definitely a bit of a scummy guy, but he's sarcastic and amusing. And he's less into the whole thing that's going on, which makes it more of a bearable read. Because I feel like if you had one of the other people as narrators and they're like,
They're
Yeah.
diving to commune.
they believe in the commune, it would not be enjoyable for me who does not believe in communes. Well, in their success. Let's just say that. They do exist. I have to admit that.
And we can appreciate they existed because I think that's where our grandparents met. On our mom's side.
Yeah, on our mom's side, not on the other side.
Not pastor dog.
No. Hawthorne is interesting. Another one where I think it helps to have context. And part of what made this enjoyable for me is I was reading a lot of these books at the same time. Mm-hmm. So there's all this intersection between ideas and concepts that I enjoyed. I do think Bithedale Romance is worth reading. Rappaccini's Daughter also would probably be my top short story to recommend.
Still Hawthorne?
Still Hawthorne.
Okay.
Because it's
Top Hawthorne.
It's weird. It's kind of this twist on the Garden of Eden. But you cannot find a way to actually align them correctly. There's all of these similarities, but you don't know who's who. It's a very strange.
It's kind of interesting.
It's a
Maybe I
very
should
strange.
read that one.
Yeah, it's a very strange story, kind of eerie. A lot of these you might not enjoy if you're not into, as we said, weird literature. So they're very thoughtful.
They're lit, not popcorn.
They're definitely lit.
Sort of thing that
It's-
you enjoy because you're wrestling with ideas, interpretations,
if you're
more
looking-
than just like, have fun.
If you're looking to just have fun, I don't know if I'd recommend any of the things I just said.
any of the things on the list. No, if
No,
you're looking
no,
to
no,
have
some of
fun,
them
some
are-
of these are fun too.
Crime and Punishment, I think you could also just have fun with.
What else? Animal
Blythe
Farm.
Romance,
I think no. Orwell's a good
some of
writer,
it.
so I'm like, even if you're not
Orwell, you
interpreting
could
it
enjoy.
right, it can be fun.
Oh, wait, I need to move forward. Strunk and White, Elements of Style. I also read that.
Drunken.
Strunk and White. It's a very famous book.
Oh wait, I read
you
that.
read that. I just included it because it was in my stack. I thought it was kind of funny. But, I mean, worth reading if you're working on writing. If you want to write, read this.
I remember nothing from that book.
It has very good tips for people who want to write. And that doesn't mean you have to abide by every single rule in it, but generally, good tips.
Pretty sure that was in our freshman year rhetoric at NSA.
Sure. Okay.
Have we finished the first page yet?
No, we're not even close.
Not even
We're
close.
not even
Where are
halfway
we?
through the
Point.
first-
That's halfway. Oh no, never mind. It's double. It's got two lists.
Wait, no, these ones. It's halfway. It's halfway on the first
We're
page.
about halfway. Okay.
Okay, Thoreau and Emerson's Nature and Self-Reliance is by Emerson. Walking is by Thoreau. This is, if you were reading some of the other ones, also I think it's good to have some context for American ideas.
Oh yeah,
Especially-
Emerson and Thoreau.
Yes. I think if you're going to read one of them, read Emerson.
Yeah, it's both of those are definitely like you're going to see things in modern media.
Yes.
and you're going to recognize
I think
it.
it's good to be able to recognize where these ideas are coming from. A lot of them are coming from these people.
See, Marisol just read, I think, Thoreau for
She
the
likes
first
saying
time.
transcendentalists now.
Yes, and so that's her new word.
The
And the
trans-
thing is,
she's right.
She's not wrong.
Whenever she's
so
like, we watch the
we're
movie,
laughing
she's
at
like,
her
the
because she goes,
transcendental-
it's transcendentalist. It's transcendentalist. It's trans. And I'm like, it's funny to hear it repeated so much, but it's because it's correct.
Because it's all around you.
We have such a transcendentalist influence on
It's very
modern
heavy.
media.
I think nature, I enjoyed reading more. I found it more interesting. Self-reliance is ridiculous. I think my teacher said he would give him like a C or a D for that essay, which made me worried for my paper grades.
No, it's funny when you read lit and you're like, I would have given this a bad grade.
Well, he would have. I was very concerned for my next paper after that.
You're like, oh dear, I have to
We
outdo
passed the class.
Emerson.
It's okay. We're through it. Yeah, I'd read Emerson if you're going to read one of them. Self-reliance because it's funny, and also because it holds a lot of the ideas you'll find around you now. Nature is more interesting. Also has a lot of those ideas in it. So
might
recommend.
have to do a part 2.
No, I can just list them all now.
No, because we might.
No, we can do it. I
No,
believe.
you have so much left. We should just do
Some
a
of
part
those
2.
are short stories. I can do it.
No, but Mira, we have like 4 minutes till it's an hour flat.
Oh.
So don't you
Apparently,
think
we should not let me talk.
No, no.
No,
It's great.
no.
No, but
I mean, it's dangerous to let me talk because then I talk for too
I
long.
was talking too.
True.
I told you that you would be fine, that I would talk too.
Okay, well then I'll say one more book and then
Yeah, and then we'll do a part 2 at
We
some
can do
point
a
because
part
it
2
would be
at some
disrespectful
point.
to this wonderful list to just breeze by them.
we did breeze by some of these already.
No, we did not.
Yeah, we did. We
Super
breezed
thorough.
by. We breezed by The Idiot. I could have talked for way longer about The Idiot. No one wants to hear that though.
Okay, pick one more.
Persuasion.
Persuasion.
I had to read that for my senior capstone.
Good job.
You have also read Persuasion?
Nope. You look disappointed.
I am disappointed. How could you have not read? Which of Jane Austen's books have you had? We are going to get this.
Emma and Pride and Prejudice. I'm sorry. Here's the thing.
I'm ashamed.
I know that she's amazing. I'm not really a fan.
Okay.
And I don't mean that in a not respecting her work, because I really
Okay.
do. I think she's a very deft author. I think
Here's
that
the
these
thing,
are
you
some
have
of
read
I
the
think
two
these
best
are
ones.
yes, I think that these are some of the most honest depictions of women you'll get in any lit without being just rude. Like
Because it has some of the virtues and a lot of the vices.
yeah, no, but
So-
it's honest depictions of like women that have good qualities, but it's being honest about their flaws as well. So I'm just saying she's really good, but it's just if I'm like we're gonna have fun, I'm never picking up a Jane Austen. It's not my vibe.
Hold up. I organized some of this by class because we've made it through 3 of my classes.
Good job. But I'm just
Technically
saying
4.
Jane Austen is great. She's not my cup of tea for just pure preference.
Fair enough.
But I've read Pride and Prejudice like 4 times.
Pride and Prejudice and Emma are just her best.
Yeah.
Persuasion is less good.
I watched the horrible Netflix movie of it.
Oh my gosh, no. That was
Where they wrecked the characters. I know it well enough. I know the story well enough to know that they nerfed the characters.
They absolutely just changed the characters. The main character was entirely contrary to who she was.
Yeah, she was trying to be all like quirky and stuff.
I enjoy Persuasion. I do not like it as much as the other ones. I find her a little obnoxious,
She pushed
but she is not. She's actually kind of not. She is in some ways. So the premise is there's this woman who is like past, her bloom.
Oh no, a spinster.
She's not a spinster yet. but
Crazy
she is
cat lady.
Past her bloom. And partially because she was in love with this man. He was going to join the Navy. Her whole family, including this woman that she really respected, told her not to. And so she broke it off. She was also really young. So her defense at the end of the book is she still should have listened to them. They just gave bad advice.
Yeah, because she was very young, and normally you want to be able to trust people
I don't
when you're
think
young.
she's entirely wrong about that. It's one of those difficult situations where like they did end up together. So, and he ended up being a great guy, kind of. He was the right guy for her.
But it's like when you're young
So
and
everyone's
all the
advice-
people you respect are telling you something.
So everyone's
it makes
advice
sense.
was wrong initially because she should have married him then. Because then she would have been with him, went through the hard parts before he succeeded, and it would have been good. Mm-hmm. So you have the question of, like, should she have listened? She thinks that she should have listened to them and that she was right.
What do you think the book thinks?
I think the book kind of agrees with her, but it also shows, I think the book agrees with her because she is, but it shows the difficulty of that decision and the fallout because of it. I'm not sure if I fully agree with the book on that point, but it's kind of difficult to know.
How young was she?
I don't remember. She was old enough to get married.
In the Regency era.
Yeah, so that's a bit different. It was, I think the reasons why, I think they did not give sufficient reasons for why she should not marry him. It was mostly status things. So I think...
So you think she should have ignored them given that it was just status arguments?
I think she should have ignored them given the reasons for it. However, I do think it puts you in a difficult position as a young girl when you have people you respect telling you not to do a thing and you don't want to just ignore advice from elders who are, you know, in some ways wiser than you are. She does admit by the end of the book it was bad advice. Mm-hmm. She deeply regrets it, but she does not regret listening to them.
She didn't really fault herself for it?
I think she should fault herself a little more. She does fault herself at points in the book for listening to them. But the end of the book, she's like, I stand by that.
How do you rank this romance?
Yeah, okay, so now I'm thinking about it. This is not my favorite book. This is not, here's the thing, it's better, like, Mansfield Park is terrible.
I've heard.
I hate that book. And that's also Austen. So I'm not a diehard Austen fan. Pride and Prejudice and Emma, far superior. Mm-hmm. Then I think Sense and Sensibility. Then I think Persuasion.
Okay.
She has good qualities and she has bad qualities. Both of them are flawed in different ways, which I do appreciate, actually. It's not two perfect characters.
She does do good with nuanced characters.
Yes. It is a book I enjoy. She is always witty. She's always funny. However, it is definitely not top of my Austen list. Mm-hmm. Partially because I can't bring myself to fully like the character.
Why was it your capstone class?
I don't remember. Well, because for the capstone class, they just choose a book, and then you read it as class, and you have discussions, and then you have to write, like, an essay.
Mm-hmm. So capstone at Hillsdale is just a senior class
for your major.
Yeah. So your department just picks what all seniors have to take.
Mm-hmm. So we all had to read Persuasion.
So
I enjoyed it. It's a really easy read.
Naturally, my capstone
This
was
is probably one that's more fun. If you want a fun read, she's still not my favorite.
Okay. So this is an enjoyment one. You don't have to know everything about the context.
You don't have to be
worldview interpretations.
Well, that's not what all of them are. I'm just, a snob.
I was joking.
Cheers. We made it through half of my list.
We made it through about half, which means we'll have a part 2.
I think a little over half.
Also, people are asking for a book club.
Oh, did you choose a book?
Yeah.
You did not tell me what your book was.
You're not going to be surprised by it.
Okay, choose a book.
Jane Eyre.
Ah, yes. Because everyone hated us for what we said.
So this is probably our hottest take to date, was our passing diss of Jane Eyre. It was like 1/9 of a podcast episode.
We were like, I hate it. And we moved forward.
I think just a short clip of that out of context is our most viewed thing by far.
Yeah. So
we figured that we should probably revisit and actually go through it. So I haven't picked a date for that yet.
Well, here's the thing. We're going to be traveling.
Yeah. So Dad suggested that we do a multi-part thing and people can read through with us.
Yeah.
But we haven't decided on a date yet. We're leaving the country tonight. But that's going to be next. So if you want to get a jump start on that,
by this time
the
podcast comes out, though, we will be back in the country.
No, well, yes, but we'll be in California.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When it's we'll be on a plane to California. Oh,
we'll be somewhere.
I think, if I'm doing the math correct.
Well, yeah, there are the books I read. We're going to read Jane Eyre.
And we're going to go through the second half of that list at some point.
Maybe. Cheers.
Though we'll probably spend way too much time on Alice in Wonderland when we get there.
Yes, we will. Which I did read
for the first time. I can't believe. Peace out, everybody. Fare thee well.
Bye.
Haven't seen violence inherent in the system. Help, help, I'm being repressed, bloody peasant. Oh, what a giveaway. Did you hear that? Eh? That's what I'm on about. Did you see him repressing me? You saw it, didn't you?